G'day. How you going?
What's going on?
43 OG. And today we've got, I'm good, mate. I'm good. How is things with you?
Really good, dude. Really good. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
I'm enjoying the change of seasons coming into the warmer months. And like I'm wearing shorts today and
Yeah.
I'm just starting to feel the vibe, the warm weather vibe. And
bro, it's good. So sunny here as well. It's been like almost hot. It's like we've just skipped spring and gone straight to summer. Hey, Here he is. Hex Enthusiast. How you going, bro?
G'day. Yeah, good. How about yourself? Nice to meet you finally, 43.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, mate. You guys actually got to meet last weekend, didn't you?
We did. We did on the cruise and the down the pub at the meetup in Sydney. So
we didn't. Like I was hoping that someone from the cruise was going to come on. Like I was hoping Sammy was going to come on the Hex Late Show on Tuesday to talk about it, but or maybe Jexa, but no one got a chance to get on. So you guys tell us.
You've got us, mate. We're here. Yeah. Let me just crack a beer first. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, let's crack a beer. I got my coffee. I got my coffee.
I'm pre-cracked. So sorry about that.
Started early. What have you got there? Is that a beer? Like a
ginger beer, mate.
Ginger beer. Look out.
Ginger beer. Yeah, sweet as. Infused with lime. Not bad.
There you go.
Is that alcoholic?
It certainly is. Yep.
Yeah. It's hard drinking on stream, I must admit. Like for every beer, I reckon it's worth about 3 beers. And if you throw some maths in there, it's worth 4 beers.
Ooh.
It's hard.
Getcha. Fair enough.
But anyway,
yeah,
maybe that's just me.
Cool.
So yeah, we had a great time. It was like the PulseChain, Australia PulseChain, meetup. I think it was the first official Australia-wide PulseChain meetup because there's obviously been Hex meetups and stuff before, but this was the first PulseChain one, like Australia-wide. So yeah, it's pretty awesome, pretty fun.
So you guys had a Friday evening like get together? And then there was a Saturday booze cruise.
Booze cruise, yep.
And then who actually made it to the Sunday breakfast?
We did.
Oh, the numbers. Yeah, we did it.
It was diminishing returns, though.
I thought
it was diminishing returns.
Yeah, that makes sense. After a booze cruise.
Oh, bro.
I've only ever been on like 1 or 2 booze cruises in my life, and I don't remember either of them. Like
I reckon even just turning up for the booze cruise was a good effort, to be fair, because we went pretty hard on the Friday night, and we'd just flown in from across the country. So for American audience, like it's the equivalent of going, like Los Angeles to New York or something like that. Like that's the sort of distance. So it was about nearly 5 hours each way, and then straight into it. Smashing the drinks, and then it was lots of fun. I actually got a funny story because as you do, I assume this is the same like with you 43, and it's definitely where I come from. When you go out boozing, you go out for a late night kebab, right? So you're smashing the drinks, and then it's like you're thinking, all right, we'll go hit the kebab shop up, and so everyone was keen, and we're like, all right, we'll go for this. This is like after everything. And then someone was like, oh, there's like a falafel place around the corner. And I was like, yeah, sweet. That sounds good. Like, we'll go get a kebab. And like, I think in my mind, I thought that a falafel was like a souvlaki. You know how you get like, like a lamb, and you get like beef, or sometimes you get lamb and beef.
Yeah. I don't even know what's in it. They're different. Like the falafel is like something that's they're complete.
Turns out falafels are shit. Yeah, it turns out they're rubbish. There's fucking no meat in them. And like, so when you've been boozy and you're starving and you're just hanging for some meat, and everyone is like pretty much carnivores. And I don't know, I think it's just so boozy. You're looking at the menu, just going, oh, the late night special. Yeah, fuck yeah. Let's have one of those, And then, just no meat, man. It was just like onion in a fucking, in a wrap. It was terrible.
No garlic sauce either, mate.
Yeah.
Missing all the
So
goodness.
I reckon
You got to
So
go
I'm
to
thinking,
kebab.
yeah,
gotta go
next
to
year,
kebab.
like I think Sydney needs to lift their game. Like I don't want to smack about Sydney, but I'm thinking next year, like the, the meetup has got to be in Perth or Melbourne, somewhere that can do us a proper late night kebab.
Did you guys,
Well-
any of you guys get to Una's in Darlinghurst?
Nah,
No?
man.
Nah,
No,
nah.
I wish
if you're in
they had
Sydney,
meat.
Well,
they have got chicken schnitzels the size of the plate,
Oh,
like
now we're talking.
massive,
Oh,
like chicken schnitzels hanging off the friggin' plate.
yes.
Like
To be
hangs
fair,
off the plate, they're massive.
to be fair, we did after the booze cruise, we went to this Oktoberfest German bar, and we all got schnitties. I got a Parma, and it was like the size of the plate. They were, because it was like Oktoberfest.
Yeah, they were
And
killer.
yeah, it's
That's
all
for
like
sure.
Jaeger schnitz and all this shit. But that was really good.
You
So I
missed
did
out
get a
on the
good
real
schnitty.
Euros, though. Dozer, we on the Saturday night,
Yeah.
me and the wife snuck out, and later that night we got a real kebab or Euros, whichever way you want to call it.
That's what I wanted.
I didn't get a
hanging
photo
for.
though, but it was what we all wanted, and yeah, we demolished them.
Nice.
Pretty good.
That's-
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That was after the booze cruise, was it?
No, that was on
Yeah.
the first night after the pub. We smashed on and had a few drinks, and then we went to
That
this
was so
falafel
Friday
bar.
night was the falafel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was after. That's just at the end of the night.
Saturday night, I'd organised something for me and the wife to go to after the cruise, so we went to that German place for a while for tea, and then we snuck
that
out.
was good.
We snuck out to a concert, and then after that, yeah, we ended up getting some good kebab. Yeah,
Nice.
Good. Yeah, combo kebab, lamb,
Yeah,
chicken,
yeah.
all the goodness. Yeah, that was good.
Oh, you guys are making my mouth water right now.
Because you guys have got some in Melbourne. Have they got some sort of meat box or something that's like famous for having their meat
Oh,
box?
we've got a
like a
HSP, like a halal snack pack, I think they call them. And what they
snack
are
pack.
is they're
Yeah.
they're this like container or this tub of just chips, and then they've got all the meat, like the meat, the shaved meat on top.
Yes.
Or if you get a good one, there'll be some lamb, I think. Depends where
nice.
you get it. And then they just put all the sauce on top. Definitely heart attack territory.
Yeah.
Like at our age, that shit will clog your arteries. Like in one serve of that will clog your arteries.
Oh yeah. Yeah, good stuff though.
At that time of night, it's like you're not making good, like healthy choice decisions. You're not like, ooh, you go, bring me the snack pack. And in Perth, like where I am, like you don't even get to sit down or anything. You basically just go to the kebab place and you're eating it like at the front, and you try not to get king hit. Like that is the name of the game, is to survive, because that's where people full die, man. Like people, like we don't.
Yo, welcome to Australia.
We had that.
Yeah.
I do not miss that. I do not miss that shit at all.
Kebab shop at 2 a.m.
No.
You got to watch
I do not miss like after like the outing of the night, hanging out somewhere, getting something, and just like having to be on guard. Like I do not miss that at all.
Yeah. But you'll do it. You'll risk your life for the kebab. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that is true.
But anyway. So yeah, man, it would have been cool to see you there. That's cool. But there was Sammy and there was a whole bunch of people. So we had a good old time. I got to meet lots of new people. And actually,
awesome. I would have loved to have come. As I've mentioned to Sammy before and to others, I'm just like with the fam. We're just at a time in our lives where I can't justify like just pissing off for 3 days and leaving my wife with 3 kids. I just can't justify it.
No.
Completely understand. Let me tell you, as soon as I can justify it successfully, I'll be there.
Yeah. That's it. And plus, I think like, we were partying pretty hard, and it's like for 99% down, like that's a good effort. But in a bull market, when everyone's just, making it rain, I reckon there's going to be like Dom Perignon and bloody
all the people shouting the bar.
Yeah. Shot. I mean, we were kind of doing that anyway. People were buying me drinks. I think Hex Enthusiast bought me a bourbon and Coke on the cruise, because they had beers there, But at some point we like switched to spirits.
Too much beer.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
what was
I've
the
got
deal?
some
So you didn't have to pay for drinks. Obviously, the drinks were included.
on the booze
or
cruise. You could drink
yeah.
like as much beer as you like, sort of thing.
Was it just beer?
Beer and wine,
yeah.
like champers, I think. Yeah, not that I get into that, but we got a couple of mimosas going, just to inspire the Tang Gang vibes for a minute there. But other than that,
Tang Gang.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Tangent would have been onto the mimosas for sure.
Yeah.
I've actually got a video which I put together, which is like a bunch of like a photo collage, I guess, with like some tunes. So if you want, I can stick that on and you can kind of get a feel for what happened. Should I stick that on?
Yeah, do it.
Let's see. I'll just whip it on and see if you can hear this. Or maybe I'll tell you what, let me just check the chat. And then I'll say, like, Kanga's in the chat if you can hear this. Or if you can't hear it, just say I can't hear it. Let's have a look.
Yo. Give thanks to the God that we all ate. TYRH. Hex flexing like all day. Yes. Best investment went all in. Whoa. Yeah. And staking we ballin'. Cop hex and what's next? Stake stacks to the max. 4 5s and relax. Future me giving thanks. Lil Squid climb the ranks. Unstaking, restaking 80%. Owning my shit, I ain't paying no rent. Feel like a boss on the way to the bank. TYRH gotta give thanks. Attitude of gratitude is natural for a Hexagon. Yes, hex flexing all thanks to him. After every dip we ascend, up into the right be the trend. By the time it's why ratification delays. Sticking letter got me heavily paid. Making cheddar every step of the way. Haters tell them it's a scam. They just jealous they ain't getting okay. So many wish they would've take a chance. Join me and take a leap of faith. They will be singing with me today. TYRH. Hex IQ test from the start. Those involved saw what I saw. Picture painted by Richard Hart. Only haters try shitting on. They lacking vision, ain't really smart. Hexagon's the best of men invested in hex. Just look at the chart. Haters debating, they hating the facts. That is still outperforming them all. Player been driving a bitch in a moped. Now I'm performing a car. Everything around me changed for the better. I'm so glad. So I'm singing this song. Days of being a bit of broke ass in the past, right where they belong. Yes. So I gotta give thanks to RH for showing the way. I'm feeding the fam. Used to be dark days when I go to sleep. Now I'm dreaming again. Take a look at my staker app. I continue to win. Yeah. Give thanks to the God that we all ate. TYRH. Hex flexing like all day. Yes. Best investment went all in. Yeah. Whoa. And staking we ballin'. Yeah. Give thanks to the God that we all ate. TYRH. Hex flexing like all day. I cop hex and went all in. Yeah. Whoa. And staking we ballin'. Take a look at my staker app. Long stakes, stay getting fat. In my old days, I be okay. Daily pay me in hex. Instead of hating, you should buy hex. Try stake and be a clever man. T-shares be the money printer. Printing money like the government. Haters is dumb and they never get it. On board them and they go quiet. Daily pay make them see the vision. Those who ball stay real about it. Come forward and they say sorry. Hexagons don't worry about it. We staking hex in the staker app. Meeting up, this is show parties. Make it rain on the PulseChain. Mainnet come with all copies. All of my hex, yes. All of my ERCs to the PLCs, man, it's gonna be lit. You broke, you
crap.
Konnichiwa!
That was so funny, man.
So good.
That looked like
that
was
going.
awesome, dude. That looked awesome.
That was really cool. That brings back, like, you know, you have a lot of people would be looking at that like, oh yeah, just whatever, bunch of hooligans. But it was like serious memories. Like, it was a really good time, eh? It was great.
Yeah.
And that last photo of Hex Rockstar with the guitar, you spotted that perfectly. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he is a really cool guy, Hex Rockstar. Shout out to him.
Oh yeah.
I knew that we would get along like a house on fire, and but we were just chatting about guitars and bands and stuff for so long, and then like he's just like, it's so funny because if you get a photo with him, it just instantly turns it into this rock and roll photo. Like you just be standing there, like looking like a, you know, just an everyday photo, and then he just walks over, and there's like wind and stuff blowing in his hair, and it's just like, yeah, and it's just like rock and roll. Like everywhere he goes, every photo, it's like there's someone with a fan just pointing at him. Like
Picks up all the vibes. Yeah, for sure.
he's so cool. It's like he's got like a real charisma. I think people just respond to that. So
yeah, you know how we all have that one mate that just always pushes it that little bit. That was Rango all weekend.
Oh, Rango, he's so funny, man. He's hilarious.
Yeah. No, good stuff.
Yeah. I met some really cool guys. Don McNuggets, he's a cool guy as well, and his wife, I forget her handle, but she was really nice as well. And there was Ollie, she was really nice. Hex Event, George. Oh, there was like Ed and a few of these other guys, but yeah, met a lot of people, and everyone was like really like chill, and like really funny, like having a laugh, and like just happy and stuff. So,
you know, but awesome. I know we'll get off the meetup topic eventually, but the one thing I found, this is my first crypto thing ever, and I've only been involved, you know, for probably 2 years now, ever since the prices started going down. So, but everyone that was there, we all had something in common that wasn't crypto, and that same sort of mentality. Like we all had the same sort of end game, or, you know, life goals and things like that. And it wasn't, pretty much, I didn't speak to one person that their goal was Lambos. We all had different inspirations, and but very much in sync with each other. That's just how I found it. So it's funny how the culture of what we believe in, and whether it's the RH stuff and what sort of he's brought together or not, I just seem to have the same sort of values and ideas as everyone else that was there that I spoke to. So it was really special.
That's interesting, man. That's interesting. Can you drill in a little bit into like what maybe, I don't want to put you on the spot, but
that's right.
Are we talking like just worldview type philosophies?
Well, a lot of people were like about into their families and stuff as well. So that was like, you know, trying to get financial security for their families. But yeah, what were you think about that, Hex Enthusiast?
I was surprised, for one, that most people I talked to there had kids. So I've got a few kids, and I was expecting most people to probably be single, or, you know, whatever, just out for a party. But the majority of people had kids. So that was the first surprising thing. But the rest of it was just wanting to do good for the world, and wanting to help people. Like if I spoke to someone and it got into what would you do if this crypto thing paid off in gains, it would be not just for yourself, not out of greed. It was really, you know, wanting to help other people, as well as set yourself up for financial freedom, help others in any way you can. And so that's really special. That's, you know, just seeing a total lack of greed. You know, everyone was very, selfless, I guess, in the way that they would deal with their gains, and hopefully they'd carry that on if they did get the gains. But a lot of conversations I had as well was about, even if we didn't get gains in the way of price appreciation, the fact of crypto being, you know, we can foresee that that's the way that the world, you know, that's going to be best for us to be handling our finances, and things like that, because of all the good reasons we know, with the immutability and stuff like that, where we can see some scary stuff going on at the moment with, you know, even just holding your funds up. They go into a registered Australian business that's an exchange. If it's a registered Australian business, why, and they know it, why are they holding your funds up? So they're worried for some reason.
And of course, you know, that leads into the whole, you know, where I think all of this ultimately is going with, and we saw a little bit of it over the COVID time, where we were, you know, they were asking us to, I'm not sure the way it was in other states, but where here, you know, wherever you went, you needed to scan something, and it was tracking. It didn't work.
Orwellian, isn't it?
It didn't work at
Nah.
all, right? It couldn't work at
No.
all. However, with the CBDC,
Oh yeah,
wherever you spend money, you'll be tracked.
tracked and
100%.
controlled, big time.
Automatically tracked. Like,
Yeah.
let,
And
put
you wouldn't
aside
even be
control.
able to spend it
I would
in
be,
certain
I'd be
places.
very surprised if that is off the bat. They're cutting people's. I'd be very surprised. That would be something down the track that would slowly creep in. You know, they wouldn't want to do that at the beginning. Other people just wouldn't adopt it to begin with. But
That's right.
that is where this will inevitably go. If
Mm.
and that is the ultimate use case for these immutable these blockchains that have nothing to do with centralized parties being like managing whether
DeFi.
they operate or not. True DeFi.
Absolutely.
So that's definitely something. I mean, that's been happening a lot recently in the news and stuff. So Hex being true DeFi, PulseChain being true DeFi, like proper decentralized, with no middlemen, as opposed to some of this fake DeFi stuff that so Uniswap censoring tokens, and then now they've just put in this fee, this 0.15% fee. So PulseX is actually cheaper to trade on PulseX with bridged in Ethereum assets than it is on or will be on Ethereum with the new Uniswap.
That's
and
right.
if they start doing this KYC on DEXs,
what do you think? Where's this coming from, in your opinion? I mean, there must be pressure from the state. There must be pressure from
BlackRock.
The state.
I mean, so Larry Fink's come out and said that that in this troubled time with the wars and things that are going on, that people are going to a flight to quality, he calls it. So interesting way of framing it. I'm not calling it a flight to safety, but he said like gold, bonds, and Bitcoin as a flight to quality. So they kind of looks like they're, to me, positioning like BlackRock and some of these guys positioning Bitcoin as being this hedge against inflation, and some of the other things that are going out there, but they want to get their greedy mitts on it. You know what I mean? So that's why they're doing the ETFs.
But if he's talking about it, they already have their bag. They already have their bag if he's talking
100%.
about it.
Yeah. So I think that's the theme, is like, so if you are wanting to sort of hedge by going into something like Bitcoin, they want to have their greedy mitts on it. And if you want to get into crypto and things like that, well, then here's a CBDC, and here you can only spend it where we tell you to spend it. And we're going to track everywhere you go. And if you don't like it, we'll freeze your funds.
I think the tracking is going to be the number one thing that happens to begin with. And telling you what you can and can't buy. Yeah. Telling what you can and can't buy is going to be further down the track. It will happen, no doubt. So
eventually, it's just a matter of time, I think.
But can you imagine, everywhere you go, everything you buy, it's like, they're going to be able to pinpoint everything. So they'll just have databases of just all this information.
And if you're not on the whitelist, you won't be able to transact. That's the scary thing.
And that's how they can limit where you go. You can go wherever you like, but your money won't work if you're outside this area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you? You need to stay within, 15K or 10K of where you are, or your money just is not going to work outside of that area until you get authorized. You need like some sort of higher level of authorization. Yeah, that's
scary.
Whatever that is. The
15-minute cities and shit like that.
Like you're riding on one of those e-scooters. As soon as you get to the boundary, you're done. Like that's it. Sorry, guys, no more outside here. So,
right. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize that's how they worked. I've never been on one.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
That's why they're always just thrown on the ground.
On the floor, just like,
because they're out. GPS says no. Yeah, that's why you find them down in creeks and all that. Yeah, exactly. It's gone.
But I don't know. I suspect that's where it's heading.
Sorry. Yeah, these exchanges, I'm sure they're not putting their hands up, just saying, we'll do this KYC stuff just for our own good. Surely they're getting either asked to or
pressure.
Pressure from somewhere, or rewards from something, or Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, true.
There's no
Yeah.
doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that Uniswap, they're getting pressure. Why would they just say, "Oh, we need to do KYC"? Why would they come out with that? There's no. That's worse for them. That's going to make it life harder for them. That's more work for them.
It's so ridiculous because it is literally just fake DeFi now. Like it's not.
I'm not that concerned about it, simply because all that stuff, like what that does is it forces the ecosystem to come up with an alternative, because there are enough people out there, like coders and stuff.
PulseX.
That won't put up with that. They're just like this.
Well,
this is
PulseX is already there. I mean,
PulseX
is basically the answer there.
Has RH
bridge in your shit?
Yeah, sorry, I think I'm delayed or something. But
all good.
Has RH said anything about this with the with the Uniswap and that? Because he was obviously really keen for Uniswap and really he believes that Hex was a big part of making Uniswap popular. And now that they're doing this, I'm interested to see if he's made a tweet or anything. I haven't seen one in relation to it, but
most of his stuff is just about the lawsuit.
Yeah, maybe PulseX is enough of a mic drop to not even bother talking about Uniswap. But yeah,
I mean,
so
it's
I'm
going to
not
be
sure.
cheaper and faster,
but nothing's going to stop. I mean, there's a couple of things I should throw out there. Uniswap, the contract, the version 2 and version 3 contracts, they will still work. So you can still
you can bypass their front end. Yeah,
you don't have to use their front end. If someone else has a front end which taps into those contracts, then they can still be used. So, but what we're reacting to is the new version 4, which they're coming out with, I believe, which they're going to require KYC. So this is where I see, like, it's almost like if the crypto community really values DeFi, then they're just not going to use that new stuff. They're just not going to use it, because it's a step in the wrong direction, and it's a step back to centralization. And we that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for things that work with the minimum amount of middlemen and the least amount of interference from centralized parties.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's just such a slippery slope, right? Because I've noticed it recently in the news where they were talking about freezing some, like Binance, I think, was freezing some Hamas accounts and stuff like that on Binance. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. You guys have decided that, these group organization is terrorism. And then, that's one thing. But it's like, there's no trial. And it's just they choose who is the terrorists. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a little bit too much power in my mind to have where, like, because they did the same thing with freezing bank accounts that were attached to Russian oligarchs, right? With the Ukraine thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe these guys are like terrible people and they should have their bank accounts frozen, but I don't know that. Like, where was the trial? Like, they just kind of go, oh yeah, no, we're going to freeze these accounts. And I just don't like the idea that someone can just label
that's going
you.
to be the justification for going after these DeFi things. Ultimately, that's where the justification is going to come from. It's going to be the whole financing, terrorism type.
It's so bullshit as well.
Argument,
because it's like
there's clearly theoretical scenarios where you wouldn't want certain exchanges of funds or whatever to happen. The question is whether blocking this one way is going to result in that entity being disabled in some way. Whether that's going to fix the problem, or whether they're just going to do what people with nefarious intentions ultimately do, regardless of the situations. They'll find a different way to do it, regardless. Whether it's put crypto aside. Imagine crypto doesn't exist, you know,
Yeah,
like it
it's like
didn't
gun
15,
laws.
16 years ago. Will they still
Mhm.
find a way to do it some other way? Will they just trade in other things? So the idea that, you know, just putting, like, heaping all the blame onto crypto, it's sort of it's an easy way out. It's an easy way just
It's
to
a cop
blame.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sort of doesn't. It's like, what did they do for all the other or hundreds of, you know, and thousands of years? What have people always done? They find a way.
Well,
They find a way to get what they want, you know.
Yeah,
So
100%. And it should be a case by case basis, and there should be a burden of proof, right? Because, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, if someone was using the internet nefariously, illegally, right? But you don't blame the telco that is the service provider, you know, and you don't make sure that you know, you prosecute the person who's done the thing. You can't just put in like safety rails for everyone, 99.9% of people, just because there's this 0.001% that are
100%.
actually doing something wrong. So
and while we're on this point, like, it's I'm sure you guys have heard about the misinformation, disinformation legislation,
yeah,
which they're wanting to put through in Australia. And it's very early on. I don't think this is something that's happening any second, you know, soon. However,
yeah.
I mean, I'm fearful. I actually am fearful of things like that happening, because that changes
It's quite
the
Orwellian, yeah.
it
It's the
actually
same thing.
changes the social contract that we have with the state. We have there's a social contract that we have, and that social contract is, I can pretty much talk whatever shit I like as long as I'm not hurting anyone, right?
Yes,
This
yeah.
will change that. This will change that, right? Because if you're saying something that someone in power doesn't like, then they can press all the buttons to have the law go after you, right? And we know that there's you know, ultimately, in the eyes of the law, everyone's equal. But when laws like this exist, some people are more equal than others, you know, ultimately.
Well,
That's how
it gives
plays
the
out.
opportunity for it to be exploited, right? And I think that's what it's about. Is like, when they introduced the mandatory data retention laws, it was like, chances are this is not going to affect me in the slightest. But I'm opposed to it on principle, because I don't want them to have, you know, the power to be like tracking everyone's movements and going through all their privacy stuff, just in case that one day someone exploits it and sort of says, all right, well, now we're going to target a certain demographic of the community, which may or may not be me, probably won't be me. But that's the thing. It's like, if you don't say something early, by the time it's been fully introduced, it's too late to then go, oh, hang on, you guys probably, this is like invasion of privacy, but it's too late by then.
We should, as a community, as an Australian crypto community who spends a lot of our time on social media, I would hate to think that our country is going to make changes like that. So given an opportunity to comment or do anything, you know, like that, I think that we should get together and even you know, get one of these AI or even just
like
use the
they did
AI
with the SEC thing.
Yeah. I think we should like rally the troops and really try and
That would be
do
cool.
our best.
That would be very cool.
You know, get a list of all the every member in the House and every senator in Australia, so like everyone can contact everyone and you know, make it easier for people, essentially.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I don't know if you caught the tangent stream the other day with RG3.
That was a good one.
And that was really cool. And it was like, RG3's just got this good way of like stirring up the troops, you know, getting you, like, inspiring people. But yeah, he was kind of like saying, you know, these guys the politicians, I mean, in the US, they're just they're doing their thing, and they're slowly making these laws to encroach further and further. And it's kind of up to people to actually push back a little bit and kind of go, hang on, is this right? Because
Yeah,
if no one
because
pushes back, then they just
if you acquiesce, what do you think's going to happen?
Mm.
They'll
yeah,
just
it's
do what they'll.
boiling the frog slowly by turning the heat up, you know, and then eventually it's too late.
Yeah.
The thing is
So we have to be on top of that here. Like we have to really keep it. Like I think it comes to us because it comes back on us because most people don't give a shit. Let's be honest. I speak to my
true.
friends about stuff like this, and
It's all
like,
too
they're
hard.
just like, no, they're just like, it's not going to affect me. Like, it's just not. And I feel like, well, everyone's already forgotten what World War II was all about. You know, everyone's already forgotten what, you know, the sort of ideals that we had like post World War II. And, you know, I don't think we should forget that because
it's heading into a precarious place with you know, Israel and Iran and some of these other places in the Middle East where, you know, you've got Russia and China kind of supporting the, you know, the Hamas and you got the US supporting Israel. It's like there's some stuff going down at the moment, like that's very sensitive. But yeah, in times of war, they just introduce whatever the hell laws they want. So you have to be on the lookout for it.
the good old temporary measure. There's nothing more. What they say, there's nothing more permanent than a temporary
solution,
as a temporary law or whatever, as an emergency measure.
That the same thing happens with me. Like if you just get like a bit of gaffer tape and you just like, oh, I'll just tape this thing up here and I'll sort it out later, and then you come back like 2 years later and you're like, oh shit, that gaffer's still gaffer taped up.
That's just like the Medicare levy, all the like the temporary, a levy is meant to be a temporary tax, right? Nothing more permanent than the Medicare levy, eh?
Sometimes they just want it to be as temporary as a term in office. So then it's the next guy's problem. You know what I mean? Like they'll introduce some stuff and then they're like, oh, well, no, we'll sort that out later. Oh, it turns out I'm retired. So now it's your problem to deal with.
I've mentioned this before on stream, but I actually believe that one of the biggest problems we have with our system of government is that it's just law upon law upon law upon law, and it's never ending. It's this never ending stacking of laws on top of each other, and they never expire. And I truly believe that laws should be written, proposed, brought into law, but then they should expire. Every law should expire, apart from maybe you have like a 10 Commandments-esque type of, like, you know, there's don't kill, don't hurt, other, like do like basic shit like
criminal
that
stuff.
But then everything else should expire and only get brought back in.
It's an interesting idea.
I think so, because this is not like, you've got all these law books and it's nonsense because no one truly understands what the law is, because it depends what, it's like a gray area. Everything's a gray area and it can be argued either way. It's not, you know.
I remember when they were talking about that, the Pokemon card with the SEC, and they were saying, you know, if I trade a Pokemon card, is that a security? And he's like, no. And then he's like, oh, well, if we digitize it and tokenize it, now is it a security? And it's because their laws, they're going back to like security laws from like 100 years ago, where they're talking about like orange groves, or, you know, like
don't start that.
Cotton fields. No, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's like when shares
100%,
were actually shares of like, you know, when you had like a flock of sheep or some shit, or like a whole bunch of minerals, and you have like a share of that. Like those laws are so old that they don't even make sense now. It's like they didn't even make sense 10 years ago. Now they really don't make sense because they're just antiquated.
Well, I think a lot of these laws come down to government trying to ensure that they get their piece of the pie. I mean, ultimately, I think it comes down to that. Like everything they do comes down to them. It's like, okay, but where's my piece of the pie? Where's the piece of the pie for the state?
Oh,
You know,
and
and I don't have a problem with any of that stuff. My problem is that of the inefficiency of the
the inefficiency, but the corruption as well, though. Like,
yeah.
have you seen the net worth of like the US Congress? It's in the like tens of billions or something. They all earn like 150 grand a year, and they're all 100 millionaires. It's like, where are you guys getting all these funds from?
It's crazy.
Lobbyists or what? Like,
you know,
it just doesn't add up.
When you're making the rules, you can sort of, you know, and I know this is supposed to be technically against the law, but I guess if you play in a gray area of it, how can they prove anything, right?
Oh, they just don't even go after them, like Nancy Pelosi and all that. Like,
but if you know certain laws are going to get up, and you know that these laws are going to benefit X, Y, and Z company because they probably proposed the laws, they probably wrote the laws, then you know to favor them, and then
you invest in that company.
You go and invest in that company, and no one's keeping an eye on any of that stuff, right? Clearly, no one's keeping an eye on, you know.
It's pretty despicable though. But anyway, maybe we should just quickly check in the old chat and see what's going on here. So thanks for everyone for coming in and saying hello. Red Squirrel's always here. Thanks, mate. Hi Ho Hex, Claz, Dingo. What's up? What's up? DJ JD. It's a new one. Nexon Frank. Ollie. I think Ollie was from the cruise.
Yeah, Ollie was
awesome.
there. Yeah. No, she's awesome. Yeah.
Clintrons. Oh wow. There's actually quite a bit in the chat. Mick. Thanks for everyone for coming in and saying hello. But yeah, it's pretty hectic at the moment. But luckily, the prices are actually pumping. So maybe
bubbles looking pretty good.
Guys, I usually head off at about around this time. So
that's cool.
It's been awesome meeting you, Hex Enthusiast. Dozer,
you too, mate. Yep.
I'm gonna leave
Always
you guys
a pleasure,
and see you later to everyone in the chat, and I'll listen to you guys on my way home. Cheers.
No worries, bro. No worries. Good to chat to you, man. Thanks very much for your insights.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate that. See you, 43.
Catch you, man.
Cool. Yeah. No, he's got some really good points there, eh? Some awesome insights.
Yeah, I love his deep dives into all those sort of things. The politics, and he's got a fair history mind on him as well. So yeah, it's pretty inspiring. Some of his knowledge, that's for sure.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Those who don't know their history are sort of doomed to repeat it. That's the thing. You've got to kind of see what's happened before. I mean, that's the scary thing about some of these laws and things that by, like, you know, say the American founding fathers and things like that. And you know, there was a lot of these guys were really anti-tax and anti-establishment, and then now it's just full blown gone the other way.
Yeah, it's unreal.
I was just going to see if I can pull up, just because, you know, we're talking about some doom and gloom stuff, but how about this price action that we're seeing?
It's crazy stuff.
This is BTC. I've talked about this on a couple of streams where I was like, you know, there was this fractal, I thought a potential fractal for this Head and Shoulders. And it was like I had this like meme where I had like the hopium and the copium kind of like, you know, the hope was that it would break out, and then the cope would be, oh, if it breaks down, then it's only going to go to 20K and then it's going to, you know, bust out. It's starting to look like it's just busted out of this. But this right shoulder action, I was concerned it would go back down to 25K. It looks like it's done the opposite. I mean, there was that fake news pump with the BlackRock ETF.
It went hard for a minute there, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right there is the
Did you catch that stream with Tangent and you talked about
it? I did. Yeah, it was live.
Tangent was going hard, and RG3
That
was
was
just
so
giving
funny.
him nothing. Yeah,
He
that
was so
hilarious.
super chilled. I saw that. That was so
But
funny.
yeah, I
Content is
can
awesome
see
to
it
watch.
in Bitcoin pumping that hard that quick. That's a pretty big deal. I know
Yeah,
it's
that's a
not
massive
like
dilly.
it's not. Yeah, it dillies all around.
Well, it could have
That's
gone.
Yeah.
It could have gone the other way, right? It could have just,
Yeah.
excuse me, broken down and gone up here. But the fact
I
that
think
it's
that's what
pumped
everyone
up,
was expecting. A lot of people were
Yeah.
thinking it was gonna drop hard. But yeah,
well, because I thought maybe this could have been a bit of a fake out, you know,
yeah,
and then it was just like
absolutely.
no. And the irony is, I think that this pump, there was someone had put in a 30x leverage long on Rollbit, and I
Goodness
think
me.
like yeah, so I think what they had done is that they had started the fake news about the BTC ETF.
Yeah,
Like they'd put in their leverage long, and then they cashed it out. So I mean, unless it was literally Cointelegraph or whoever, who
yeah.
because those were the guys that were shilling the fake news.
If you were shilling it, you'd be in it, wouldn't you? Come on.
Yeah, it could literally have been one of the Cointelegraph guys. But like I've got it here. I can pull it up. But there is a actually let me see if I can do it, because
How do you release fake news like that? Like, if it didn't happen, who's the one typing saying it's happened? What they were just making a schedule for when it does, like a scheduled post for when it does happen, or do you know what I mean? Like how?
Yeah.
Are they claiming it's a hack or something, or just some dude that
I think it
posted
was
it
just
too
like
early?
they were just saying that they got their information from a source, but then that source turned out to be bullshit.
Yeah.
This was what I saw. So this was it was a 50x.
They did it right, didn't they?
A 50x leverage long.
Me.
And it was like 27.7 was their bus price, and they exited at 30.2. They cashed out 4,000% ROI. So
not bad.
Not sure if that was actually Cointelegraph, but that's dodgy if it was.
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking is, do you remember when RH was talking about if he had a gun to his head, then what would be his line of resistance?
Resistance, yeah. Was it between 27.5 and 30, somewhere there?
Yeah, exactly. So let me just see if I can pull that up.
By the way, you can't hear sheep you can't hear barring in the background.
I fully can actually, now that you mention it. That's wicked. That's wicked.
We actually came home to, unfortunately, one of them like one of them had died, and
oh no,
and then we'd put it somewhere sort of far away, and I said to the wife last night that what's the bet that's going to attract some foxes.
Yeah,
and we woke up this morning to one of the newborns that were born while we were gone.
Oh wow!
Taken out by a fox. So, yeah, not a good day. But anyway,
yeah, that's a bit sad, isn't it?
That's how it is in the animal kingdom.
So was it a newborn that got taken by the fox, or?
Well, yeah, overnight tonight. Yeah, obviously the scent of
bugger.
and the fox knowing that there was one that was already dead. It sort of enticed the fox closer, and got one of the newborn lambs. So anyway.
Yeah, that's a bit sad, but
it's not nice.
Yeah, I guess it's interesting that you've got a whole bunch of nature going on in the background there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. It's great. We I guess the long-term plan of being able to be self-sufficient if we need to, and good for the family and the kids, and good fresh air. So yeah,
that's right. You can have your own lamb kebabs if you need to.
We make plenty of them, don't you worry. Lamb pizzas, Euros pizzas, garlic sauce, nice. So good. Lots of onion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll be in for the onion, but yeah.
It's
a better ratio though. Better ratio, meat to onion ratio. So
I go the lamb with a bit of mint, and you get some like Greek yogurt and the mint, and you put it, and then you just put that on your pizza with the lamb. It's awesome. Sweet, and some chorizo.
That's it.
So I was just going to quickly say, when RH was talking about if you had a gun to his head, this was the resistance he'd draw. He's basically saying he's boxed out this, 30.5.
Yeah.
And it did actually go into this.
Okay.
it probably did wick to around 30.5.
Yeah, right.
So it's,
Yep.
I mean, this was back in like, there we go, published on the 18th of March. So
Yeah.
like he's done it again. He's called it pretty hard because it did get smacked down from this resistance. So really what I'm saying is if we can get above this 30.5 and turn that into support, then that might be the key. But the PLS price is also pumping. And so we had this triangle breakdown here. And then it basically went down to where the wick, so because it had a wick down to before, that sort of was its support. And then it just went sideways for a bit, came up with this other triangle, got smacked down again, but it's still hitting this resistance line. And it's just now kind of peeking its head above that resistance line. And I'm hoping it can turn it into support again because it sort of did it last time, but then broke back down. I mean, you could just say that this is sideways, right? Like if depending on how you look at it.
If you zoom out, it's sideways. But I guess if you're watching it every day like we are, it's you're still seeing those details. So
I just think that this 4045, 4046 level for Pulse is just such a critical level of resistance and support. So really we need to turn it into support. But yeah, if this whole BTC narrative of like a flight to quality sort of keeps going and then BTC keeps pumping, I think it's just going to drag the rest of the market with it. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway.
I agree. I think it'll drag it with it. But how much of this do you think has, the liquid loans and more so the Fetch Oracle coming out, that's going to give a lot of other projects the green light? How much of that, will also bring us higher? If Bitcoin keeps going, I reckon it's just going to magnify on the PulseChain. Big time.
Yeah. I'm
so
hoping
maybe
so. I think you're right.
Yeah, maybe EHEX. I know that's had a bigger pump than the PulseChain side. Maybe that's sort of front running in a way what might be happening soon. We might see a pretty big boost shortly.
Bro, that EHEX was pumping its proverbials off. It was like,
it sure was.
Yeah, it was out of control.
The dillies are going hard. Yeah.
yeah, big time. Let me see if I can whip that out because that we should definitely be talking about that. I mean, I just use PLS as like a metric for how everything else is going. But you're right. Even the PHEX was doing quite well.
It's crazy though, because on my deck screener, I sort of, have my watch list. And when you look at the, 24-hour movements of, the highest or lowest in 24 hours, often Pulse is in the middle of that. And then above it is, some coins that are pumping hard. And then there's a few that have dropped a little bit, but Pulse always seems to be about in the middle. I don't think it seems to lead, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think they do take turns for sure. And because they're sort of bonded by liquidity, more so like the PHEX. But yeah, the EHEX 70% up.
Goodness, look at that. It's at the 4 hour.
That's
gone good. Yeah.
So if I put it on dailies,
70%. Yeah. Well, that's broken out of a lot. That's broken out pretty hard.
I mean, that's literally in 60% up in 9 days.
That sort of stuff was happening a lot leading up to PulseChain, like those sort of, big increases. So it's good to see it can still pump.
Big time. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I wonder PHEX, PLS, if I price it in PLS. So this was interesting because Hex was going up against PLS.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And then it kind of broke down a little bit. And then now it's just kind of going sideways. So, interesting. I thought maybe this would start to go down because I thought maybe PLS would start pumping, but it's depending on what's driving it as well. Like you were saying, the liquid loans thing. If people are going to want to get a whole bunch of PLS so that they can put it in the the vaults and borrow against it, then that might cause a bit of a a pump in the PLS price, right?
Yeah, you'd think the PLS would start to pump given that news, unless it's been front run. But the new projects coming out, the biggest use cases would be PLS and PLSX with the Power City stuff. But I haven't really looked at the charts, but I've been listening to a bit today, and by the sounds of it, PulseX hasn't moved much.
Not much that I'd seen.
Yeah.
No. I'll go back to it and check. But PulseX. Let's have a look here. So PulseX was up 2.2% today, as opposed to PLS, which went 2%. So I mean, it's all good. It's all looking good. I really think there's that, like I say, that there's a critical level that we just got to get above.
Absolutely.
And then once we're above that, I think we might be home and hosed. I saw, and so one last thing I was going to say about that is, there's, people sometimes talk about the bear markets and bull markets. I saw recently, I think it was the Morgan Stanley guy, and he was talking about like crypto winter versus we're heading into crypto spring. And it was like he had this kind of like seasonal kind of take on it. I'll see if I can pull it up.
I have heard that heard a lot of streamers from America talking about crypto summer being good. I think Aussie's due for a good crypto summer.
Yeah, it's hard to know if that was just like summer and they were just like stoked be like, oh, DeFi summer, because it's summer, we're going to be pumping. But like, I think this is more like in terms of like if you look at
talking seasonal within crypto rather than
seasonal within crypto. So
yeah.
And so, okay, well, I think they actually described it here. So summer, they were talking about where most of Bitcoin's gains come from, bull run period starting with the halving event and ends with the price of Bitcoin hits its prior peak. Okay, so that's interesting. So it's from the halving to when it hits the previous all-time high. That's what they call summer. And then fall is when it goes above the previous all-time high and makes the new high. Winter is basically the bear, and spring, during this period preceding each halving, price of Bitcoin generally recovers from cycle low, and investor interest tends to be weak. So they were talking about it as like heading into, crypto spring or whatever. So that's an interesting way of looking at it, just breaking it up into four rather than, because, Tangent talks about that, like, you get that hyperbolic bull or parabolic bull or asymptotic bull, however you want to call it, where it just starts just going absolutely parabolic.
Yeah, for sure. Well, but we could be in a bull as it is,
but technically, like if we're crypto spring or whatever, it's just like it's still a big up from all-time high to reaching its previous all-time high. Like that's nothing to be sneezed at. Like that's a lot of ROI. It's just it's not the all-time high of the next cycle.
Exactly.
But so apparently Mintra is about to launch. So this is testnet Mintra.
Awesome.
So I guess the Tang gang will be stoked because just more NFTs, Pulse Punks, Hex Funks.
Definitely.
And then to be able to have the Wattses and stuff on there, Staker class. I mean, I think it's great. The more NFT marketplaces, the better.
People have been waiting a long time for this as well. Like you hear a lot of FUD with people that are sacrifice and stuff saying, oh, when's this stuff actually going to launch? Obviously, some people have a lot more patience than others, but they've been waiting for things as well, surely. So
I think they're going to be crying a little bit harder as well because the Mintra token got released today.
Oh, I see. Yep.
and I think it's down like 86%.
Oh
Whoops.
dear, shouldn't be laughing. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll cry after the
yeah.
stream because I may or may
That's
not be
right. I was
laughing.
going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's these wicks. You can't even count that first
Yeah.
hour anyway, because
No.
it's like
No.
you don't know
Yeah.
what's going on. Really,
So we're
probably even the first day. But the fact that the coins have actually come out, and then I guess once the marketplace actually starts,
comes live,
goes live and starts people are generating fees or whatever, then maybe we'll start to see that recover. The only other things that I saw was there's this Pulse hot list.
Yes, yeah.
But these guys,
another one that sacrifices are crying about.
Oh yeah, did they do a sack as well? Did they?
They did, yeah. There was quite a few. There was like pools. They were sort of keen for people to get into pools and put funds together for it.
Wow.
And when the token got
didn't.
released a little while ago, it was much below sack price. But it's one of those things. There's a lot to see positive in it, which is if you're sacrificing, you don't get you get a lot better price execution and stuff like that. But obviously, if it's gone down 90% or 100%,
but it's also like if you had it just
buying,
but you'd be better off buying if you had it in USD or if you had it in stables. But if you had put that money in Hex, you'd be down 99% anyway. So like, if you sacked Hex for it, you've got to look 100%. At the differential between how much Hex has gone down and then how much the token itself was going to go down. Because if you were to just held that Hex, you would be still down anyway. Because it's a bear market, like everything's literally down 90%. So I mean, this site, I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, "Hey, that's pretty cool." I think the Paul Pleb guides, is it 9-inch?
9-inch,
yeah. That's going to come out soon. So I wonder if we might see a bit of a pump from the old PP.
Yeah, I definitely. So this Pulse hot list, give me a refresher on the idea behind this. It was a bit like a Coin Gecko type, or is it's more of a like ranking site? I
think it's just a ranking site.
Ranking site. Yep. And they were hoping for to get a heap of advertising on it, which was going to be something that they would hope, pump the price of the token, but also just get more people seeing PulseChain through the advertising and stuff. So we'll see if they get people on board. But people
I actually like this.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think this Pulse coin list is actually a pretty cool site. In terms of just rankings.
For sure.
And they had some really cool like stats page, and they got like an ecosystem page and stuff. But I mean, there's lots of cool shit. But
how's that ink price? Was $80 or something?
I can't remember what it got to, but it's only like $1 now. I mean, it's a hard one with those like incentive tokens because you're being rewarded for providing liquidity and putting it into the yield farms, and then so as a reward, and that's to offset your impermanent loss. But as a reward, what else are you supposed to do with that apart from sell it, right? So to get some reward out of it. So it's kind of like,
I haven't looked at the ratio to swap into anything with ink in a while. I'm just sort of letting it accumulate. But if you were to, there's not a whole lot of value there, I'd say, either if you were to swap it into other tokens.
Not at the moment.
The ratio should be pretty average. Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that one of the plays that one of the whales could potentially do is that if they start pumping the price of ink, like just start buying up ink, it's really going to incentivize people to want to do that yield farming. And that will actually drive adoption, because if you start seeing APR in the hundreds of percent, you're going to get all the degens from all the chains wanting to do yield farming on PulseX.
Sure. One move on if the price keeps appreciating, one single move on PulseX in the way of in the background with the farming with RH or whoever controls that, one little change on there could make the ink price pump pretty hard, I reckon, if they introduce other farms, you know, all of a sudden, or something, somehow incentivize it, it'll pump hard.
100%. And it's the same as, like, you know, with the Grove, they've got their yield farms as well. We're talking, like, you know, 382%, 300%.
Yeah.
Oh, 900%. The Pussy Yacht combo. If you don't
I reckon there was
mind.
one Tangent posted today or yesterday or something. I swear it was almost
Holy shit.
2,000%. Yeah.
It might have been this Pussy Yacht one.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah.
I didn't see that, but that's some high yield. Like, goddamn.
I've been too busy having fun away to get into this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's other ones as well. I think Spark Swap, they have some yield farms.
Yeah.
I'm just not, like, entirely sold on, like, just then my antivirus has just come up and said there's a data leak or something. Yeah, and it's like it's blocked something, and it's like, okay, Spark Swap, like, what the fuck? And I mean, the yield is just probably not, unless you're talking about the Spark one. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know the guys. I know they have got a bridge, though. To be fair, they have a
I mean, they're probably fine. It's probably just throwing something up. But yeah,
it's probably fine. It's just like,
it's still not nice. It's not reassuring, is it?
No. It's like, what? I don't know what a data leak is, but I'm not a fan. I mean, this is an on-stream wallet anyway, so this is just like, there's nothing in it. But at least, like, I know the Pussy guys and the Grove guys, they're not in it to, like, rug people. They seem like good actors, so a little bit more confidence there. But I did see that the SparkSwap guys had a bridge from BNB, like Binance Smart Chain, to Pulse, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yep, definitely. I've had a look at the PortalX just to see it at one stage, because the PulseChain bridge was having some issues for like 24 hours there or something, probably a few days ago. But I couldn't really seem to find anything that would actually go cross-chain. Is it only ETH to Pulse that will go to PulseChain?
Nah, man. Are you talking about PortalX?
PortalX, yeah.
PortalX is awesome, man. I've used it heaps. You can go.
So can you bridge USDC to PulseChain or only ETH?
No, it's not like a fiat on ramp, I guess.
Yep.
It's just a cross-chain swap.
Yeah.
So you can go, say you want to go from, you know, BNB to Pulse, like we we're just talking. You can just bridge it like that, or whatever, you know, Avalanche. You know, if you had some AVAX and you wanted to go to Polygon or some shit.
And are they loading up?
Cool.
I couldn't get them to load up. Okay, so that would work.
It stopped working for some time. I think they were relying on multi-chain, and I think multi-chain like shat the bed, or basically like self-rugged to themselves or something. And then so they were down for quite some time. And then now I think PortalX is back up and running. I've been using it and it seems to work fine.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, I'm a bit of a fan of that. So PortalX is good. There's another one that I've used. I think it's called Squid Router, but they don't have PulseChain on there. So that's if you're like swapping between different chains and things. But yeah, I was going to say something else about PortalX.
Is this your preferred bridge?
Oh, I remember now. Yeah. No, I just use the normal bridge. I just use the
same here.
I just literally go to pulsechain.com and just go to the bridge.
Yep, same.
Like that's just the easiest, safest, you know.
I'm with you.
It's just an on-stream wallet, but it keeps asking me to go to it. Yeah, so I mean, this is the easiest for me.
Yeah.
I mean, you can buy wrapped PLS on Ethereum and then bridge it across, and then when you use this, it'll unwrap it for you.
Yep.
So you don't even need gas on the other side. You don't need any PLS on the other side. Or you can just like bridge in some wrapped ETH or some shit and then just swap it around. Like assuming, I think at this stage everyone's got Pulse on the other side, so it's not a big deal. But for people who don't, there are ways you can just buy wrapped PLS on Ethereum, bridge that in, and it will unwrap it in the bridging process. So you have gas on the other side, like immediately.
Sure.
So yeah, so that's pretty cool. The one I was thinking of for the fiat unwrap was actually GoPulse. So these guys, this is awesome. You know, the portfolio tracker is really cool.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
It's got the bubbles.
I like on the portfolio on that one. You can it has your T shares on there, but it includes if you have the perpetuals.
Yeah.
So I find that pretty good. Whereas I use the Fatty wallet as well, but that doesn't, you know, tell you much at all about T shares. So they both have their own use cases. Yeah.
It's really cool. And I think you can just literally, this is your fiat on ramp where this is where you know, if you're just literally wanted to get, I've never actually used this, but presumably, yeah, actually, when I did try and use this, I think it didn't have AUD, but there is a way. One of these sites, there is a way, but there's Coast as well.
Yeah, have you used Coast?
I haven't.
Yeah, I've given it a crack, so I've got onto that, and it's good. The support's good on Coast and all that sort of stuff. You have to set up a couple of you have to go through the main KYC with it, but then you have to do another section with another basically like a US style like wallet to be able to send through. And Tangent was talking about that on another stream. The only thing is, and it all works very smoothly. To go from fiat to get it on chain, it takes about 24 hours to be able to send it through. So if you want to do something quickly, it's definitely not fast. But if you're just wanting to on ramp and have stuff waiting there, then that's all good. If you're chasing dips or something, not the best. But the other thing I found is the fees. Like I love Coast because it's a native stable coin, and it's primarily Aussie built and stuff like that. So far I've found the fees. Yeah, I found the fees though to be a little bit higher than if I was to, or if you were to take them onto a normal exchange, send through to ETH and then PulseChain. It still works out, a bit cheaper going that way. So I still, unless maybe if you had a heap of weight tokens, that might be a bit different.
Oh man, I had so much weight. I sold it all though.
Lovely. Yeah.
But look, I mean, I haven't done the numbers, but in terms of like the cheapest way to on ramp, because normally when I'm like bridging in funds, I'm just so stoked that I'm just like bridge this shit in, like let's go.
No, for
and
sure.
I'm not looking at like the percents and like how many percent is this costing me to bridge in.
So with
normally
Coast,
it's like $50 or something. It's not much.
There you go. I think it was about between $30 and $40. And I can't remember. I think that's USD to get through Coast onto PulseChain. But using a centralized exchange, I found it's a bit cheaper than that. So, but it all works, and Coast is good. You know, even just having that up your sleeve signed up for could be good for an off ramp or an on ramp if the others aren't working. So
it's definitely, and look, some people it's good for them to know about it for sure. I sometimes actually tend to think in ETH, which is really weird. Like I kind of go, I need about 0.01 ETH or 0.02 to ETH to bridge this in, or to how much do I need to do a send? So, and then I don't know how much that is. Like, I'm just kind of like going, it's just 0.01 ETH. Like, if ETH is like 1,500 or some shit, and then you're like, or whatever. But yeah, probably should be a bit more.
No, look, the day might come where we're talking that language a lot more rather than even talking in USD, because we're always talking about the ratio to USD. And it takes a while. If you know, even for me trying to learn, like, you know, looking at ratios and stuff like that, takes a while to get your head around. But one day we might be talking in that language a lot more. So
You know what? I learned that from Richard Hart, where he talks about price is basically a ratio of like effectively of your purchasing power of the unit that you're using to transact. So if you're using euros or yen or USD, AUD, whatever, there's going to be a ratio of like yen to USD, and then there's going to be the ratio of whatever that USD is to the ice cream that you're buying or the car that you're buying or whatever it is. But at some level, like a car that, you know, from the 70s or whatever that used to cost $5,000 that might be worth 50 grand now. It's the same car. So like its value can change because of it's worth more in the future, but it's the same item. So it's like when you have, I guess, bull markets and bear markets in crypto, you also have it in assets like secondhand cars or real estate or whatever. And it's like,
Absolutely.
So you could buy a house for X amount, but in 5 years' time, it could be cheaper or lower, and like what we saw with the vid and the secondhand car market just went through the roof. So it's always about your purchasing power and that ratio of the purchasing power. So and when you look back and you're kind of thinking, oh, I was paying 0.01 ETH for that, and then now an ETH is worth 10 grand. It's like you can't really do that measurement because you were never, unless you were going to hold that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it is hard for your brain to kind of think in like, you know, when Pulse launched and everything was like a ratio trade where you had to kind of go, oh, hex is like 200 Pulse per hex. Like, oh, that's a good deal for a swap, or oh, no, now it's only 50 hex per PLS. Like, that's rubbish.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you've got to almost keep that ratio trade mindset everywhere you go, like in crypto and in everything else, because the ratios fluctuate. Yeah. And that is the actual price. It's not like the dollar price.
Yeah, I mean, same with shopping, whatever it happens to be. So I think if everyone's a lot more switched on to what they're actually paying for something, not just not just the exact, I guess, dollar value.
The dollar value
because
can be.
You could be paying the same for a packet of chips, but there's less chips in that packet now as well. So
you get the shrinkflation and shit like that.
Yeah, no, it's
Mars bars are like this big, man. I'm like, is this fun size? Is this a Mars bar for ants?
Those falafels were for ants, bro. Come on.
I didn't even finish it, man.
They were for ants that like onions.
So terrible. For onion. Oh man, that was so bad. I think we can probably wrap it up. I was just going to see if there was anything in the chat. It's hard for me to.
Like I said earlier, you're popping my cherry on this, so I haven't even joined the chat.
Well
on my
done,
computer.
man.
Sorry, guys. So
no, you've done really well for your first stream.
Thanks,
bro.
Man.
That's really good, man. Like it took me like at least half a dozen to sort of relax a bit.
Hey, you're running the show, so that's all good.
I've got like multiple screens and clicking buttons and all sorts of stuff. But but yeah, man. Anyway, it was good to see you at the cruise, and
it was lovely.
It was nice to meet the missus, and there was actually heaps of people there that were really cool. So shout out to all the
great time.
Shout out to all the Aussie Hexicans that went to the meetup and on the cruise and the brunch. And if you didn't see it, there's some photos at the start I had in a little montage.
That photo reel was amazing. I liked it. Yep, very cool.
Yeah, cool. I might put it on Twitter or something as well. So
that'd be awesome.
Cool, man. Did you want to say any final words or anything?
Not really. I guess the only thing is how strong community is. I really felt that while we were at the meetup.
For sure.
And I know that it's strong on Twitter and stuff like that, but I always hear people say meeting people face to face is when you really feel it, and 100% that's what happened for me. So just going to do my best to stay in contact with everyone.
Cool,
and keep that sort of face to face stuff going on. But thank you so much for giving me the invite to come on. That was
of course, man. No, I think
that was pretty cool. And thought I'd give it a crack. So thanks for putting up with me, everyone.
You've done really well, man. And I think that's good for for any of the Aussies that are, you know, super keen, like hit me up, because I think it'd
That'd
be
be so
cool
good.
to get more Aussies streaming and stuff. I mean, 43 OG and Tangent and Sammy, Jexa, these guys have been doing it for years, like
And
week
going
in,
hard.
week out,
Yeah, absolutely.
going hard. Tangent's doing like multiple streams per week. Like that's hard work, man. Like so to get other people streaming, I think Klaz has got a stream on tomorrow morning, our time.
Cool. We'll give that
but
a
it's
watch.
like getting more Aussies. I think it's a good thing.
Yep,
Cool,
absolutely. I'll have to hit you up just about some, you know, tips on stream, like what gear I might need or whatever, just to put on reasonable thing, because I don't know how this is going, but that's all cool. So lovely to chat
audio
with you, man.
sounds awesome. I think you've done really
Nice,
well. I think the audio's good, the video's good. I think you nailed it. And
beautiful.
we just need to get some sheep in the background for and then next
not
time,
on my grass. Not on my grass. They've been in here once and they almost got the shotgun. So no, it's all good.
Oh wow. Cool, man. Awesome. Well, yeah, good to see you. Thanks for coming on, and I will wrap up this stream.
Take it easy.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, chat. Rock on. Enjoy your weekend.